your home of only the hottest tech trends. You're listening to Techies Talking Tech Tonight. I'm your host, Drake Comstock, and with me is Executive Editor of Tech's Last Call, Jimmy Principe.
Hello, Internet.
And it is Tuesday, September 16th, 2014. And this is the hard rock show of technology, where we just sort of talk about whatever's going on with us and our interactions with technology or gaming or restaurants or really much of anything. I spent a good chunk of last Friday trying desperately to pre-order an iPhone 6 Plus and failing miserably. That has been my technology vision quest for the past few days. Basically, from the time we wrapped the last week's show to the end of business on Friday, I've given up on trying to pre-order. I put about a day into it, and I was like, no, this isn't working. So I tried to log into the Apple website. Of course, the servers were crashed. AT&T's servers were apparently up, but I didn't know that, and so after having woken up at 3 o'clock, it was about 3:45. Apple's servers were still down. I was like, screw this. I've got to work in the morning. I can't live like this. So
this is madness.
This is madness. And so I didn't do that. And so then after I finished working, I figured I would go to the Apple Store because I had heard rumors of in-store pre-orders. No, you could arrange on the Apple website to pick up in-store, but that was already pushed to sometime in November, so that was out. Then I'd heard that Radio Shack was doing pre-orders, and they were, but only for iPhone 6s, not the Plus. Same deal for Best Buy. They would let you pre-order. In-store pre-order an iPhone 6 for release day. Not a plus. AT&T called them and had a very hostile conversation with the man who I spoke to. So I called my nearest AT&T store. I was like, hey, can I come in and pre-order an iPhone 6 Plus for day one? Well, we can't guarantee what day you'll be able to get it. You might be able to get it day one. So let me see. I would burn my upgrade credit on a pre-order that may or
might not be able to get the first day.
Get the first day. So screw that. And so by the end of my quest on last Friday, I realized that I will continue my annual tradition of standing in an Apple line.
You really do like standing in Apple lines.
I've stood in at least one Apple line every year since 2008. Is that true? I think that's true.
You sound proud.
Well, it's better than crying. I think
marginally.
I think that's true. No, that's not true. I did not stand in one in 2009. I stood in line in 2008 for the iPhone 3G. I stood in line in 2010 for the iPad with 3G. The original iPad with 3G. I stood in line in 2011 for the iPhone 4. I stood in line with you in 2012 for the iPad third generation with Retina display. I stood in line.
That promptly sold to a Nigerian prince.
And then I also stood in line in 2012 on crutches to acquire my iPhone 5. I stood in line in 2013 to get Sydney's iPhone 5S. And now I'm going to stand in line here in 2014 for the iPhone 6 Plus, and presumably will stand in line in 2015 for the Apple Watch. I have a problem.
How does that make you feel?
Like weeping. It was actually to the point where I was slightly hoping that I wouldn't manage to pre-order it because I was thinking I will miss my line experience. That was
I think that's the definition of madness, really.
I was really thinking, it's like, oh, this will be the first time where because I was standing in Radio Shack, and I was like, well, I want to support them because they're about to go bankrupt, and I like their existence, because where else
am I... That's the story of Radio Shack.
Well, where else am I going to go and buy the random crap that I need from time to time at random hours that's close by? It's Radio Shack. Like, I like them as a business, and I actually go there with some frequency.
That one time you need the, like, random
light bulb
for your breadboard.
Right, or, the battery you can't find anywhere else, or the whatever. They tend to have the random parts that I need. It's a store that's built on having random parts, and it's a heck of a lot closer than Fry's. And it's faster than the internet. So,
that's why box stores exist, man.
Right, and so I wanted to support them, and so I saw, and I started, the guy was like, no one was in there. It's like, hey, yeah, no, this is great, let's do this. And then he was trying to find the SKU for the iPhone 6 Plus, and he realized, I can't, and he was so disappointed. I was disappointed for him. We were having a good conversation.
You're having a moment?
We're having a moment. And he couldn't do it, and he was so sad, and so it's like, okay, fine, I'll try Best Buy. Best Buy's gotta have it, right? Nope. So, I'll be standing in line. I'm thinking of rising, either not going to bed or rising first thing. I have pushed my entire calendar until 4 p.m. on Friday.
This is on a recording note. Are we recording a podcast on Thursday night or on Friday?
Well, Friday I'm up at the parsonage on Friday, so it'll need to be Thursday night.
Okay.
Just relatively early. Because I'll need to sleep and then rise. Rise! Son of Rome. Rise, son of Rome. So, next week's show, hopefully, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we will have an iPhone 6 Plus to review and show off live here on the on camera. Also, we'll...
Shininess.
We'll have Disney Infinity Marvel Superheroes 2.0 live. Also, I'm very excited about this game. The Toys to Life category hits me, and like 7-year-old me would have thought this is the best thing on the planet, and 28-year-old me still thinks this is pretty darn cool. So we'll talk more about that. So Jimmy, what have you been playing over the past 4 days since we last did one of these?
Destiny.
So this is another Destiny cast.
Yes, So I'm now almost level 11. I've tested a number more of the aspects of the game. I've tried my hand at the Crucible, which is the traditional multiplayer arena. It's actually not as it's a total free for all, and everybody's dying repeatedly.
So there isn't matching? Is this not?
Oh no. Okay, so there's an interesting twist to that. So everyone I was playing, so I was level 8 at the time.
Okay.
Everyone I was playing against was like level 22. But what they did do is I can't remember exactly how they phrased it, but they leveled the playing field.
Okay.
So it's just as easy for me to kill someone that's level 22 as it is for them to kill me.
Except they've been playing the game longer.
They've been playing the game longer, and at least for now, this is in one of the... they've been playing the game longer, and they also have powers that I don't have.
Right.
So those things don't go away, but it's not like, oh, they have significantly better armor, they have significantly better weapons, things like that. That stuff's all canceled out.
So they nerf the weapons, nerf the armor, lower their HP, it takes as many bullets to kill them,
or as much of a skill to kill them.
Right, but they still have been playing longer and thus are superior players, presumably.
Yes, but so I played a couple of these, the capture the flag type matches, and I did respectable in them, considering that it was my first few matches. I was kind of in around the bottom of the middle.
Okay, sure.
So in a totally respectable place. But it was definitely hard. I will probably go back and do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I did get a lot of mileage out of that in Halo 3. That was a lot of what I played once I'd finished the campaign. I also found an additional wrinkle that you can go back and replay missions, but there's a hard option.
Right, yeah.
But something I wasn't aware of when we last recorded.
Yeah, but I often, but I mean, the theory behind that is, oh, once you hit level 20, or once you finish the game, you'll want to be able to go back to the story missions, so then you can grind for better gear. But what I keep hearing is just that that's not worth it. That once you reach the end of the game, you may have had enough of Destiny, unless you feel like you have a review responsibility, which of course you do, to get to level 20, or slightly past level 20 with light armor. Light, not like weighs less. Like rays from the sun armor. That, maybe that's enough. Or maybe, I mean, there are quotes flying around the internet from Bungie people saying, the game really begins at level 20, and there's going to be, like, group raids and all kinds of stuff, theoretically, as kind of post-game, or it gets in MMO speak, end-game content. So maybe that will keep you interested once you finish the game and hit the level cap?
I think that... I don't know. I think that there's a little bit too much hatred out there for Destiny as far as an
internet,
idea. Yeah. And I think the games. I think I expressed this on the last show. I think the games journalists are being a little harsh on it. It is the first generation. It's not going to be perfect. It's not perfect.
Sure. They spent $500 million on it, though.
It's not a perfect game, but it is a perfect system with which that they can put a game in it.
Sure.
There's a lot of next gen in it. The
graphics are phenomenal. They're always connected.
It's always connected. I can jump into my friend's game. All these things. There are a lot of really nice features about it. And honestly, if Ubisoft delivers this for Assassin's Creed, gives me the same Assassin's Creed game I've gotten for the last 3 cycles, with this level of a multiplayer,
they just released a co-op trailer this week.
Interaction?
Playing out that there will be at least some form of co-op missions.
See, I don't like the idea of co-op, and that's kind of the problem. This is built around any mission can be co-op.
Sure.
Any mission can be single player.
But that's what I want. That's what I want from Assassin's Creed, I think. I
don't know how you can do that in Assassin's Creed. I think that's part of what Destiny is struggling with. So in Assassin's Creed, what you have, and in The Last of Us, and all of these things, you are a single player. All of the story is built around your single character, and everyone is talking to you. You are in cutscenes, all of these things.
Yeah.
In Destiny, it's hard for them to have that. All the cutscenes are tailored to you. All of those things, because realistically, you could be 3 of you in any given
fire team, right?
And
how it's handled is just you see your character in each of the cutscenes,
right?
Which is a little weird.
The fact that you don't see all 3 or 2 characters is weird. Now, it does show the number of ships that you're flying.
Right, yeah, in the load screen.
Yeah. So that's nice. It makes you feel like you're there. And whenever you're in the, okay, where are you going to go? It shows the ships kind of so whoever's in charge, because you can customize your ship. Whoever's in charge is in the front. That's their ship. And then everyone else is following behind.
Right.
So they have little ways of making you know that you're in a team.
But it's not included in the cutscene structure.
It's not included in the cutscene structure.
Your thought is that Assassin's Creed would be the same way, that it wouldn't be integrated into the cutscenes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think that you... Well, it's not even that. I don't think that you could have as deep of content.
I don't know. It's a story based on a brotherhood. Right?
Unless you universalize it to instead of... but it's hard to do it. You'd have to make totally different cutscenes for one person. Okay, there's 2 ways you can do it. You do universal cutscenes for where you have one person playing and you fill in the other 3 roles with NPCs.
Right. Or you have different versions of the cutscenes for 1, 2, up to 4 people for Assassin's Creed.
Right. Okay, you only need it for 1 versus more than 1, because whether it's plural or not, I think is the issue.
But this is Assassin's Creed. They throw essentially unlimited human resources at it. They got time.
That's true. But I don't think that. I think that that's what we'll see next year from Assassin's Creed. I think that this year they're going to use it as a pilot test. They're going to say, okay, is this what you really want?
Well, I mean, they've been really good at that in terms of features. So they've got, I think they won't have competitive multiplayer this year, if I remember correctly. So they've gotten rid of, as far as I remember, they've gotten rid of.
Does it?
No, that's not true, actually.
Really?
Assassin's Creed multiplayer is kind of oddly highly regarded because it's creative. It's not your standard thing. And so some people get really into it. It's not like a huge draw like it would be for a Call of Duty, but it's not a joke either. It's not just laughed off. Because they do some weird things in it. And yeah, and they actually hide story in it, which annoys me because I don't play it. But like, that's how you found out that What's-Her-Face is a Templar. That was in the multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
So when you got to the beginning of AC3 or whatever, beginning of AC4, like, oh, she was a Templar all along. You're like, where was that fact? Where was
I missed that.
Where was Lucy? Lucy, right? It was Lucy.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Where was Lucy a Templar? Now you found that out in the multiplayer.
Interesting.
It turns out. So it's not as bad. It doesn't even get a bad rap in the games press that I follow anyway, and the little bit of it I've played. Because you're like, so one of the modes focused around, like, there's an assassin blending with the crowd seeking you, and you're seeking to kill them. And, you know, you have, it's not like everyone's playing as Ezio, like, you have different characters. And so you're trying to find the person who's not the NPC to kill him before he kills you. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Like, that's a meaningful, like, aspect of the Assassin's Creed universe and gameplay applied to multiplayer. It's not just, oh, we do team deathmatch, but you do stab, 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 stab. Right? Like, no. Like, it's still using their, like, amazing NPC technology to integrate that into a multiplayer, like, spy versus spy. So, that, I mean, it's not terrible. You would think saying Assassin's Creed multiplayer, oh, that's going to be awful, just tacked on BS. But it actually, they integrated it into story, they integrated it into in-game fiction, and they integrated it into gameplay mechanics. So I'm fairly positive on that and The Last of Us multiplayers, because I think they did a good job of integrating it into the mechanics of their core gameplay. It wasn't just, oh, we're going to do the things that shooters do. We're going to make this make sense for this game. So I don't think they're going to have it this year, and that's a little disappointing, but it sounds like it's been swapped in for co-op. But what the sense I get from it is it's going to be co-op the way Black Ops does co-op, where there are specific, not Black Ops, what am I thinking? No. Splinter Cell, sorry.
Okay, I was saying, I don't think it's Black Ops.
No, it's Splinter Cell. Because Black Ops 2 was the one that did, like, co-op where you could be like, someone was like the commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
one
Black Ops.
One guy was up in the plane,
right.
One guy was on the ground.
Right, but that's not what this is. This is like how Splinter Cell does it, where there's specific story-based co-op missions. And then there are specific story-based single-player missions. Rather than what Destiny does, where everything can either be single or multiplayer.
Now, that's not completely true. There are story-based co-op missions, and the way that their level structure is that is the last mission you would play on Earth, for example.
Okay.
So all the levels on Earth, they haven't suggested. Actually, okay. So I don't think it's a suggested. I think it's a you have to be this level minimum in order to play
I've seen someone level 10 play on level 11. So
okay,
it's not
there's got to be a fudge to it then. I tried to jump into a game that my friend was playing. He was a significantly higher level than I was, and it told me I was not at my current level. I was not allowed to jump in.
Well, maybe there's what it said for them is if you took it on, then it would be a hard mission. So he was a level 10 trying to play a level 11 mission, and it said it would be hard. But he was able, a level 10 and a level 8 were allowed to play together on this level 11 mission.
Right, and I think that what it was, actually, he was playing in the Crucible, is my understanding. I'm further in the story than he is,
okay.
But he's level 17 and I'm level 10.
Because he's doing a lot of the multiplayer.
He's doing a lot of the multiplayer stuff, and he's getting a lot of mileage out of that. I think that. I think so. The majority of my previous experience with the Bungie game was Halo 3.
Yeah, sure, okay, yeah.
was
Phenomenal.
one of the best Halo games.
Sure. I mean, you could rank that in probably the top 20 games of all time, maybe. It'd be worth an argument anyways.
But to be fair, a lot of the story you get from it is either from Cortana,
which is essentially Dinklebot.
It's just essentially this thing.
Sorry, Peter Dinklage is the voice of the ghost, so it is getting commonly referred to as the Dinklebot.
Or the just like transmissions from the commander dude.
Right. The plot device thing that hovers over your shoulder.
Right. So that mechanic is the same, and it feels natural. And as I was playing through it in a single player mode, I was keeping in mind what we discussed on the previous show, which was that in a lot of ways it's cold.
Yep.
And although I would say
that's not me. That's Kevin Van Ord.
That's Kevin Van Ord. Yeah, and we had discussed that on the previous show. I think that cold still may be the right word for it, but I don't want to misinterpret cold and lifeless. There is still something. There's still content there. It just is not. It doesn't pluck at your heartstrings. It doesn't.
Go to place, have it scanned by Dinklebot, shoot some dudes. Go to place, have it scanned by Dinklebot, shoot some dudes.
There's a little bit more variety than that, and the story makes it feel like...
Stab some dudes with a sword, have something scanned by Dinklebot, shoot some dudes. Am I accurately capturing what it is to play Destiny?
No, I mean, so one of the missions that I played, and I guess this could be spoilery, is that you, it's one of the, I guess it is the last mission on the moon. So the last mission on the moon, you journey into the depths of the, I figured out also how they explain the fact that you're going through the same scenery over and over again. There's a path and it forks.
Sure.
And so when you're looking at the map, it shows the forks that you're coming off on. And so as you're this is the furthest path, and there's this sword of the Hive King that has some like horrible has the darkness in it.
Sci-fi magic mumbo jumbo. Yep.
Yes. And the idea
is you must reforge your father's lightsaber in order to
the idea is that you are going in there to capture it so that they because the Hive is planning an invasion of Earth, and the Hive King will wake and come and use the sword to kill you.
Right. So the Hive or the Flood?
You.
The Flood?
Yeah.
The Flood. Okay, good. Yeah, let's keep going.
And so you go in and you get this sword, and then the these, what was it? These I can't remember what the story was around it, but it was like the princes, I think it was, come to take it back.
Right. But what you are describing, and then you fight them with this sword, and you can kind of do a ground pound, and the shockwaves go up. Right. That is literally the only time you use that mechanic.
Yes, but
and it pulls out a third person, and it's interesting. But that is the one moment where Dinklebot.
I just played that, so.
Right, and so that is like the one, from what I understand. Again, I don't play first-person shooters for obvious reasons. I would vomit. From what I understand from other reviewers, that is the one time that mechanic is used, and that gets when anytime they talk about Dinklebot does. Sorry, I've now just smushed Dinklebot and Cortana into Dinklebot. Dinklebot goes in scans and you shoot.
Dinklebot by night.
This is the one time that it's not a Dinklebot mission, that it has a different mechanic. And then you go back to Dinklebot missions.
Okay.
So, there is a variety of one. Kevin Van Ord sums up his review by I'm going to paraphrase rather than quote exactly, but basically says, when he ended the last mission, he got some armor and some money, and the game was over. And nothing happened.
See, okay, so we'll see how I feel when I get to the end.
Yeah.
Because I want it to feel like the end.
Are you kidding me? It's a 10-year franchise. Going into it, it's not going to feel like the end of anything.
I don't care. I want to feel like I've reached some... Look, this is like the TV show resolution, it's part of a greater whole of a TV show. But the end of the TV show, you need to do two things. One, you need to wrap up the TV show you just watched,
or at least a season. Let's think of this more like a season.
Right. Okay. So one, you need to wrap up the season that you're finishing.
Right.
And two, you need to tee off the next season.
So like the end of West Wing season 2 is the perfect example of this. Spoiler alert, Mrs. Langdon has died. Jeb is deciding whether or not he's going to run for re-election. There's this dramatic scene in the National Cathedral. It is literally the best episode of television I've ever watched. And I grew up in the 90s. I've watched a friggin' lot of television, but that is the best.
Television has literally rotted our brains.
But that is the best episode of television I've ever watched of anything. And I've watched every episode of Mad Men, and every episode of Bones, and every episode of Mythbusters. That is just every episode of Sherlock. This is better than anything Sherlock's ever done, and I really like Sherlock. And my mind
is too long.
They're movies. They're literally movies. But it does a really good job of like tying together that season, and then you end this cliffhanger. Is he going to run or not? Right? That's great. I don't think you're going to get that from Destiny. If not to spoil you, but what I'm hearing from the other reviewers is you ain't going to get it, bro. Maybe you'll feel differently. That's why we play these things for ourselves.
Right. And so that's how a game ends is very important to me. Now, to be fair, I felt like Last of Us didn't do enough with their ending. Part of it was that I had the ending spoiled for me.
Sure, that's part of it.
Someone right before I played it.
Oh.
And I was super pissed.
It was Ellie all along. She's devious. That's the ending of Last of Us, right? It was Ellie all along.
What was Ellie all along?
That she's the one who killed his family, and I understand. I know what the end of Last of Us is. I know that's not it. I don't know why.
It was a thermonuclear war.
Yeah, it was actually a thermonuclear war, and communism was
the zombies were all a figment of his imagination.
And communism was a red herring. Yep.
Yes, always.
Communism is a red herring.
Is always a red herring.
Always a red herring. So the other game that you have been playing this week, so oddly enough, Bungie used to be owned by Microsoft, and this game is now owned by Microsoft. How you like that for a transition? What?
Don't call attention to transition.
Sorry, that one was too good. I even had to break my own rule. That one was too good. So tell me about Minecraft.
So, in honor of Minecraft being purchased by Microsoft,
$2.5 billion. Actually,
real money.
To be fair, Mojang, the producer of Minecraft, is what was purchased, minus their founders, including the epic Notch, who has a real name.
So I purchased the Minecraft Pocket for my Android phone. I'll be honest, I've been purposefully staying out of Minecraft as a concept.
And why is that, Jimmy?
Because I love Legos.
So do I. I have the desks covered in Legos.
And the theory is
have a Lego Judge and a Lego Groot. Here is Groot.
Groot.
No, that is Groot. And Ranger Rick. And everything's covered in Legos. Anyways, keep going.
And so
Groot away.
While Trey and I were preparing for the show, I basically started tunneling into the ground on this map, and I'm building an under. Let me see if I can get this to show up on the video version. I'm building. Oh, I destroyed all the lanterns. I'm building an underground cavern.
I see that.
With brick flooring. I might change it to wood. Haven't decided yet. I'm also trying to figure out. I'm going to try to figure out how the mechanics in this thing work. See if I can build an air trap so that I can keep the water from flowing into my. So I can have like a pool underground.
Okay.
Keep the water flowing into my space. This could go horribly wrong, for obvious reasons. But yes, so my love of Legos also translates into a love of Minecraft.
Sure, and that makes perfect sense.
It's a remarkably simple game. I'm playing the creative mode, not the survival mode where you like fight against other people and things. There's like monsters and whatever. I'm playing the make stuff mode.
Sure, that makes sense. To me,
I,
that seems like the most interesting part of Minecraft.
and there's an interesting thing I heard this morning on NPR as I was driving into work about
Yeah,
how Minecraft is being used in schools as for kind of creative projects in elementary schools because it enhances what you can do with simple building blocks.
Yeah, and basically, as I understand it, every kid is playing this game.
Yes.
Like, boys, girls, every kid under the age of 15
Lego should
is
bought
just
this, honestly.
Lego. This would have been worth $2.5 billion for Lego. It does seem like a weird purchase for Microsoft, but we'll kind of save that end of the story for.
I really don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
worried about that.
I don't know.
Or excited. I haven't decided. I need to do more research on that specific acquisition before our.
He means play more Minecraft.
Yes.
I'm going to do the real research on this. Jimmy's going to play Minecraft.
Yes, Trey will look up words. I will play more Minecraft.
Yep, great. Fantastic.
With an underground palace.
So tell me about... Okay, not to be reductive, but what's the deal here? What makes Minecraft so... I mean, this game came out 2 years ago. They're still selling it by the tens of thousands to the point where Notch wants out because it's too much for him to deal with. What makes this one indie game for worth $2.5 billion? Tell me to it right now. Go. What is it? What's its raison d'etre?
It is limitless.
But so is pornography. I still don't.
Yes, and people pay at least $2.5 billion for pornography.
You're not wrong about that.
Remember, you introduced it into the equation.
I did.
I mean, the answer really is that, at least in the amount that I've played, and I'll have a better answer for this on. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is also because we have a show that we're going to talk about this on. So one of us needs to have played the game.
More than I have. Yep.
In the Pocket version, it's really that I can destroy anything I want, and I can build anything I want.
Okay.
And it has its own way of like sand, for example. So there's sand blocks.
Mm-hmm.
If I break a sand block and there's more sand blocks above it, all of the sand comes cascading down upon me.
So there's a physics and a geology to it. Built in, hardwired in this game, that it's not just blocks, it's blocks with properties. And so, like we've talked about on the other show, that's how they're able to make like computer memory in Minecraft.
Yes. And also you can do there are torches. So for example, I'm tunneling underground, so I have a couple of light shafts as I'm going down, but then I discovered the torch tool, and this is, I know nothing about Minecraft when I open this up. And so this is just me. This specific world is me just figuring out how the mechanics of the game work. And you can place these torches on the walls, and it'll light your underground space. So you'll have light and be able to see what the hell you're doing. If you punch a hole in the wall and you're under the water, there's water around on this map. Punch a hole through the wall, water will come through the wall.
Right.
Period. You can throw stone, bricks, and but it's a weird kind of way the geology works. So if I take a stone brick and I put it on the ceiling, it'll stay there.
Interesting.
Because it's next to other bricks. Like, it has to stick to something, but it'll stay there. And so I can build things in kind of an out of order way in order to make it look cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it has its kind of own rules as far as like the sand and the water and things like that. But not so much as Legos, where, if you always, that flat 2x16 piece was the best piece in the world because you could put it underneath a bunch of 2x4s.
Yeah, and stick them all together.
Stick them all together and stick them off the ends and then do more. And lap them like you would actually, honestly, how they construct the top plate for frame walls is that way. They take 2x4s and they overlap them a certain amount so they have stability and structure.
I think what's interesting about this conversation is none of this is the part of Legos that interests me. Because what I like is the storytelling side. I'm not so interested in...
There is a story in Minecraft. Right, actual Minecraft. But this is the building part of Minecraft.
Right. But what I mean is, for me, Legos was a medium for telling stories rather than for building structures. I was much more interested in the kind of palette that Lego actually continues to give me to tell stories and create stories with this kind of unlimited vault of characters. That's what interests me in Lego. And that's why I look at Minecraft and go, that's interesting. But it's not a living enough world for me. So that's why The Sims, not Sims 4, but The Sims sucks me in more so than Minecraft. They both have that dollhouse element of, I can build this thing. But for me in The Sims, then I could simulate a real life, a real story happening there. And there's
that's why Sim Castle is still your favorite thing about
Assassin's Creed 2. Yeah, is this the Sim Castle or the Sim Boat aspect. I like building a place for stories to happen and have a lot more mechanics, maybe a more limited palette in terms of building, especially Assassin's Creed is a very limited palette for building, but a lot more palette for story. And that's what I don't see in Minecraft. So I look and go, yeah, that's great, and I'm glad that kids are interested in its engineering and its creativity and it's all of these it's the most successful indie game I can think of and all of these things. I'm just not interested.
The other thing I think is beneficial about looking at Minecraft and things like that is that if it's opening up the possibilities for people to... So there is a fundamental problem with people and their ability to use spatial reasoning.
Sure. No, look, I don't... you're not going to get an argument against Minecraft for me.
And I think that Minecraft, in addition to other things like Legos, is a great way for kids specifically to be able to
Minecraft's a heck of a lot cheaper.
It is.
Assuming you already have a computer or a smartphone or a tablet.
Understand how things go together. It is perfect for that.
Sure. Absolutely.
How you put things together in three-dimensional space in order to build something.
Right.
And realistically for me, because I'm an engineer. I build things in 3 dimensions on a daily basis.
Right.
But this is more of the fun, if I screw it up, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Screw up on a daily basis, I'm going to get yelled at.
And possibly kill people.
Consequences.
Well, theoretically, you have enough design review processes that if it really is going to kill somebody, someone would notice, right? Right, yeah.
Tell yourself that. It'll make you you sleep better at night.
If I crash a live stream, I just get yelled at because I crashed a live stream. If you fail at the technical side of your job, people die.
You kill them by the dozens.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. So, speaking of work, in my office, I have a Samsung SCW 3405 printer, laser inkjet, laser printer thing, black and white scanner.
Printers.
I had a big event and I had to make flyers, and the nearest Kinko's is like 20 miles away, and I realize it's not what they're called anymore, but Kinko's. And so I was like, okay, fine. I just bought a new toner cartridge. They're supposed to last 1,000 pages. I happen to only have to run off 500 pages. Great. So I'll just use half this toner cartridge. It'll be about the same price as getting it printed at Kinko's. Blah, 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 blah. And this is at like 9 o'clock in the morning. The event's at noon. It's like, great. This is perfect. About halfway through my printing, I'm out of toner. And it's just like, that was a $70 toner cartridge that is now dead. And this screws me twice. So then I don't have toner to run off the bulletins on Sunday morning. So I'm out $80. I still have to go to Kinko's, and I can't run off the bulletin the next morning. And, printers, don't get a lot of attention in the tech space because for the most part, we do everything on tablets. And certainly in my non-church life, I do everything. I don't print out anything. I don't print out scripts. I don't print out sermon notes. I don't print out anything. Every document that I need is carried around on my Surface Pro 3. And I've been running my own personal office that way since I was in high school with a laptop, not a Surface Pro 3. Those didn't exist.
Think of how much better it would have been if they had.
Well, they sort of existed. They just weren't sexy. I mean, there was like
right.
a tablet.
Like twist.
Right. I mean, the twist and shout tablets existed when I was in high school. They just weren't very good. But I always kind of looked at them and go, maybe that's the answer. And it may well have been. I now think it is. But anyways, printers are just now this kind of afterthought. Everyone has them, but we don't really ever use them. Or it's the really expensive office printers. And mine is not an expensive office printer. I'm the only person who works in my office. It's a home office, but it runs the church. So printers just kind of this land that tech forgot. For a while, HP, and they may still well be, were making printers based on WebOS, which had detachable tablets, and that
I think they still are.
And
by that I mean I don't think they've released new models since they did that.
So like this consumer printing space has just been forgotten, and yet sometimes you just have to print a thing, right? I understand like, oh, just use your tablet. I can't tell my entire congregation, and then many of them do have tablets, to bring their tablet. We don't have Wi-Fi.
Pull out your tablet and...
pull out your tablet and turn to, as will be found on your tablet. Like, we don't have TVs or projector in the main sanctuary, and I get that, like, in my job at Emory University managing their worship media, that's how we get around a lot of our printing needs, is I run it on screen. But I don't have those at my actual church.
Well, look, at my large church, we don't have those either, so...
Right, and for some people, it's just a money decision. I think for us, it's a money decision. But for some churches, it's a liturgical decision. They don't want the screens in there. But
that's our church.
Right. But, like, why are printers so bad? Why? I just bought this one after my huge office-style printer was even worse than this one.
Okay, so my personal recommendation on printers is I have a brother... black and white printer.
That's what this is. I mean, this is a Samsung brand.
It's the brother printer that is the same as that one. And one thing I have to say for brother, because they only make freaking printers and like
why I bought a Samsung product is beyond me.
Brother is to printers and scanners and that kind of and label makers what Logitech is to peripherals.
Sure. Okay, I can believe that.
So that is how I will sum this up. Because this brother printer, I've had it for about, I guess, 2 years now. A year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And it connected to the Wi-Fi perfectly.
I still can't get my Samsung on the Wi-Fi. I've no idea.
It connected to the Wi-Fi. I don't know how. I no longer remember how I did it. All I know is it works, so I'm not going to ask questions. It connected to the Wi-Fi fine. It sits in a corner. And whenever I need it, I hit print, and I hear it.
Yeah, but how much printing are you really doing?
I'm not doing the level of printing you're doing.
Right.
But
yeah.
But this printer, its cartridges are rated for something like 2,000 prints.
And how much are the cartridges?
$100.
Okay, so the Samsung ones, I can get the.
We're in the same ballpark.
No, I mean I've now buy the off-brand ones for $37. Is my solution. I've been tracking some data comparing the OEM cartridges to the off-brand cartridges. The off-brands are advertised as getting more pages. They last about as long as the OEM cartridges, but are half the price. And have yet to kill my printer. And if it died, I'm not sure I'll be that sad.
Well, this was the Epson printer problem from 10 years ago. That you could buy an Epson printer for $20. You know how much the ink cost for that Epson printer?
$80.
$40.
Right, yeah.
For one of the two cartridges that was in it.
Right. Well, that's the problem.
Whenever your printer ran out of ink, you replaced your printer.
I mean, that's the problem with the Canon printer that's sitting here right next to me. Like, I love the print quality of this printer, but I can't keep it in inkjet ink.
Look, and that's the problem with my Canon printer. That's actually I had to pull the Brother printer out again. I kind of retired it temporarily because I didn't have a need for it. And then I ran out of ink more rapidly than I expected in the inkjet. And I said, well, that was fun while it lasted. And I set the brother next to it and started printing.
Well, that's why I bought a laser printer for my office. I've been fighting this inkjet battle, and it's great if you want photo quality, which is why I bought this one, was to do photo prints. And I do fewer of those now, but it's nice to have that capacity.
Right.
But in terms of just like duplicating black and whites, laser is clearly the way to go. But even still,
I think part of the reason why I picked this laser was also that I think it'll self-duplex.
Yeah, this one won't. And I'm doing duplexing every Sunday, and I'm having to do it myself. Like, it is 19...
Duplexing is the most miserable printing experience
in
the entire world.
I do it every week.
We have commercial HP printers that we have at work that don't duplex. And I looked at someone when they told me that, and I said, seriously? We paid how much money for these printers not that long ago, and they don't duplex?
Right. I've yet to own a printer that duplexes.
It's a nice feature.
So maybe I need this brother. Maybe I need to look at a brother printer.
Yeah.
Maybe my problem is I bought a Samsung product.
It's one of those where like its list price is $150, but you can regularly find it on sale for half that.
I may, as frustrated as I am with that stupid Samsung and just printing in general.
I'd say kill the toner cartridge on it, and when you're done with that, then
I just bought a new one. I just bought a new one, because I need it Sunday.
We all know that the toner cartridge is the brains of the thing, so.
Right. I mean, the toner cartridge, I'll probably be out in early November is when kind of the normal life cycle that I've got worked out for my cartridges. It may be time to buy a brother one that just travels with me because this is getting ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And it just kind of reminds me of all of the, technology that the technorati have kind of stopped thinking about. Printers, Wi-Fi, the ability to make phone calls, external hard drives. I just do it in the cloud, man. Yeah, you video edit in the cloud. Pfft. So, I mean, we are rapidly approaching a world where everything's stored on the cloud and everyone has a tablet. And most communication is done either by video chat or text. But we're not actually in that world yet. And there's an aspect of the technology world that does live in that, late 21st century world. But we're not all the real world, the majority of Americans anyways, are not there yet. If I said, if I said, okay, we're no longer going to use hymnals, everything's going to be just sent to you on your iPad, everyone would freaking leave. Right? And, we have a contemporary service where the words are projected on the wall. But that's in a very safe space of calling it a different service than this other one. And I get pushback at Emory University, where about half of the congregation that I'm serving on twice a week are millennials. About 50% of that population are millennials. And, where's the music? Where's the tune line? Dude, A, you're 26 years old. B, hardly anyone reads music. C, if you want to make that look good on the screen, go ahead. But I'm not investing the 7 or 8 hours that you're not paying me for to make that happen. There are weird things, weird spaces, and I guess I run into this as a religious leader because religion's old. We're the world's second. I call us the world's second oldest profession.
Prostitutes
being the first oldest profession. We're there because they feel guilty about that. That's really why their priests came second. This is terribly irreverent, but it's actually kind of how I think about it. And so we have some tradition wrapped up in what we do in the ritual of the thing, open the bulletin, there's the thing, open the paper hymnal. And the paper hymnal I get, we already have them. That's infrastructure cost. I don't mind opening up a hymnal. What I would wish we didn't have to do is a bulletin. Because then I wouldn't have to fight with printers.
Although think about it, if you had it as an ebook every week for your, and you clicked on the hymn when it came up, and it opened the hymn up.
Yeah, but you'd need really good software. I mean, some of it is a software issue, right? Because what you'd need a central control of an ebook central control software where you could push simultaneously to all of these ebooks the program of the service. and so that it would, and then
website, I guess, is the solution to this problem, isn't it?
well, it's some sort of kind of on-prem cloud thing, probably. It's really how that works, and that they're all tapping into, like, just you point them at a folder. I could come up with ideas, but here's the thing. What happens when they don't work? This is the problem I have with
chaos.
This is the problem I have with screens in my own job. The screen crashed on me once in the middle of a hymn. They don't have any other way to sing that hymn. With hymnals, they don't crash. With paper bulletins, they don't crash. The technology just isn't quite stable enough yet to really be used by people who are not tech savvy. So I can get us out if ProPresenter crashes, usually. And I'm willing to deal with the fact that occasionally the pen stops working in my Surface Pro 3 or whatever it is. But any element of kludge that gets in the way of an 87-year-old person enjoying a worship service, that's an entirely different problem. So I really do think that printing and phone calls are here to stay. So on that note, we should probably get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us in this edition of T4 Techies Talking Tech Tonight. Do you have any feedback or technology that the world forgot that you want us to talk about? Podcast at techlastcall.com, facebook.com/techlastcall, pinterest.com/techlastcall, or at techlastcall on the Twitters. Good night.
Pedometers.
Yeah, but now just everything has become a pedometer.
I know.
That's just become a subsumed technology. That's not a technology time's forgotten. Printers. Who cares about printers? I care a lot about printers. Like a lot about printers. The amount of my week I spend in fear of printers. Unreasonable. The amount of my life I've spent hunting for printers. Worldwide. I hate them. I really hate them. I hate printers. That needs just to be the show that I hate printers. Or yeah, I hate them.
It is our destiny to hate printers.
It is our destiny to hate printers. They're awful.
It is our destiny, to hate printers.